Let's go. We're back indeed. The live chat. Sorry, guys, for the delay. Thanks everyone who's joining us. I'm back again, Quinny, with Jeremy McGann and Fedo here to look at everything Champion Euro on Sorare. We'll be getting into a wee bit more draft action than usual. And yeah, guys, back again live, second week in a row. Sorry again for the delay. But first and foremost, where are my manners? Jeremy, good to see you, mate. Thanks for coming back.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here. Hi, everybody who's live with us. Yeah, looking forward to talk about this fun weekend and what's to come as well.
It was definitely an action-packed weekend, and I think between the three of us, Fedo, you definitely watched more than most, as you do anyway. But yeah, good to see you, big man. And how you keeping?
Very good, my man. Thanks again. Always, this is one of the nicest times in the week just to talk with you two about our favorite stuff, about our favorite competition, even Champion Europe, which is kind of the pinnacle of football. I think we all agree on that. And yeah, even though everything is going right in the right direction in the real life, like on Champion Europe on Sorare, I have been so bad the whole years. I haven't won anything. Every time I had a DMP, something or whatever, I don't know what's going on. I need to break that curse as well. Like there's like already 4 game weeks with Champion Europe Open, I think now. Like I haven't even won a tier 5 yet in this season.
I managed to scrape my first tier 5 this weekend. No thanks to Rodrigo missing his penalty on Friday night. But Champion Euro, it's definitely one of those divisions that when you start getting some form, but it's like, every prize you kind of like, it could be something really good, because like you say, it's the pinnacle. It's the creme de la creme. It's the top table.
And it's also the most competitive, Quinny. As I think this weekend you needed in D4, which is just rares and one captain. I think you needed like 520 points, something like that, to win the division in Champion Europe. It's crazy.
That is crazy. 520 is a massive score. And where were the majority of those players coming from? Do you remember? I'll go have a peek if you don't.
100. No, I don't remember.
A few hundreds,
but I can check. And check.
I'll go pull it up.
There were quite a few hundreds this weekend, to be honest. Let's check.
So they haven't opted down, but Champion Euro Rare 493. And Big Klaus captain. Look at that team, by the way.
Crazy.
Which one? Oh yeah, that one. It's 493. It's not 500. That's my bad. I'm sorry. I just missed
Marseille.
He knows. He just knows. It's right here. It's probably me, and I wasn't even aware of it. Look at this guy.
A team.
They didn't even play well. It's so funny.
Who did he win? What did he get with a Marseille stack?
Yeah, right.
Look at that team. Look at the team beat.
Yeah, wow. Look at the price there.
Yeah, Bastoni playing good. Inter having really good scores at the moment.
Yeah, really, really good. Let's have a look at this guy, see what he actually picked up. Can we?
A guy barely spent an ETH to get that chip through. Wow.
Nashi. Let's see what he won.
Yeah, Marseille.
Nashi.
What did you get, brother? Bruno.
Oh,
wow, that's not a bad price. That's not a bad price.
Not at all.
Would love a Bruno.
Massive
I need a Bruno, to be honest.
There were 97 players that scored more than 95 this weekend.
Good one.
Yeah, this weekend was crazy scores.
Jeepers, man, that is some high scores. I wonder how many of them were actually in Champion Euro. There was a fair amount of them, Atletico Madrid, it was an odd statistic from their game for 7-0 wins. I think someone said no one scored more than 85. I know there's a few 80-somethings, but it might have been 85 was the ceiling, which for 7 goals is crazy that no one got into the 90s, But yeah, there's quite a lot of crazy stuff going on. I don't really know where for us to pick up, guys, because as I was saying to you, I was away. I was out of office over the weekend, so I've just been watching highlight packages galore and getting up to speed. Over the weekend, is there anything that's like burning that you think, this was the big thing I caught this weekend, or this is something definitely for us to watch out for the coming weeks or something? Then we'll take it from there.
Fedo, how was Leverkusen and Leipzig and Bayern, since they seem to be our mates?
Leverkusen actually first Leipzig got behind first by a penalty. I don't know if that was a penalty, to be honest, but yeah, they got behind, but then they just clicked in another gear and then they just overrun Stuttgart. It was amazing to watch how talented this squad actually is and who they can bring from the bench. It's unbelievable. And they just Paulsen did a very good game, to be honest. I wouldn't be shocked if he starts next game as well, to be honest, even in front of Werner or Šeško. Xavi Simons played amazing. Dani Olmo is such a great player. It's unbelievable. The problem is some players are just not reflected in the Sorare matrix. Wait a second, because somebody's cutting trees and it's really noisy outside. I don't know.
I get it.
Dani Olmo, I don't know. Sometimes he has really great games where he gets a lot of AA, but sometimes he just doesn't get any AA at all. And he did what a wonderful goal he scored, like holy moly. But yeah, only 60 AA. It's not great for Sorare, especially because he was kind of the best man on the field still. With Xavi Simons, I think he was astonishingly good. Also, Simakan, crazy what he defended, and he always played the long passes into the opposition. Really, really good player. I love Simakan, and I do really enjoy watching him. And I think I said that to you, Quinny, I think in private already, that I think that's the best Joshua Guardiola replacement you can actually get, and I hope they just see it. And he's so fit for the position, and I just hope he can stay fit, because he's also one guy who always has kind of muscle injuries. I don't know why, but some people are like that. And yeah, Paulsen played really good. I think he's gonna start again. Nubel, I don't know what he did. He made like two big errors, and yeah, just Nubel things. I don't know. Probably Jeremy knows them from Monaco times. An old
I was
Monaco
watching. Sorry to interrupt. I was watching Monaco play against Nantes, and he finishes 3-3,
Yeah.
right? And here I am on Twitter being like, Monaco went from a shitty goalkeeper to an embarrassment of a goalkeeper because Philippe Cohn is guilty for 2 games. And my mate was texting back and was like, "Oh, just go and watch the Bundesliga, because although they were up 1-0, Nubel is just giving goals left, right, and center, and now they're losing 5-1." I was like, "Fuck." He's a nightmare. Poor
Nubel
guy,
is
the future Neuer.
Yeah, he is not. But he's definitely not. Yeah, but Stuttgart also looked good, to be honest. I don't think Stuttgart's gonna be that bad this season, like they were last season. Like last year's season, they were fighting for relegation, like very deep into the season, even till the last two matches. But this year they seem more settled, more like a team. I think the Hönes, the guy, is actually a decent gaffer, and I think they should be fine. I have also some friends of mine who actually just now are looking forward to buying Stuttgart's decks, because they think that's actually a decent team to watch, and
Yeah,
also
see.
to score to score great on sorry, I think last week Champion Europe rare winner had a full Stuttgart stack, so that you just understand it, and that didn't cost more than 0.45 ETH, because the only guy who's basically expensive is Nubel, and he shouldn't be that expensive because he's not that great. Gurasi was expensive as well because he had the Ajax links. I don't think he's that expensive anymore, because I don't think Ajax gonna complete the signing of him. But yeah,
And they
Leverkusen
got
look
Mikotadze.
yeah, Mikotadze, they got them. They want. I hope they could get Almada, but they didn't do it. So yeah, they got Mikotadze from Metz, I think, right? They bought him from Metz,
Yeah.
right, Gerald?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good transfer for them. And Georgian football looks good, to be honest. But that's another topic. Leverkusen under Xabi Alonso, do look really good, especially because they already played Leipzig, a stronger team. And yeah, I think one of the most hidden gems this seasons are gonna be the central defenders of Leverkusen, because as Quinny said, Leverkusen plays when they're having position. One of the central defenders is going forward, being a striker, and that's super important also for Sorare. Look at Tapsoba. He got an 80 without nothing, just AA. I don't know how the other two did, but I think Leverkusen central defender could be a gem this season in Sorare, especially by the way Xabi Alonso is letting the squad play. Boniface is really looking good for Wirtz because Wirtz just passes them and this guy shoots, just shoots, man. So that's a lot of created assists for Wirtz virtually, even maybe they weren't at the end of the day. But on Sorare, they're counted as created assists, which is very good for the matrix of Wirtz. So Wirtz going to be having a huge season if he stays fit. And yeah, Shaka is unbelievable. What a working machine he is. He's like a horse, like boom, wow. And yeah, Diego Palacios is great. Ezequiel, sorry, not Diego. Ezequiel is great. Love to watch him, and yeah, he's gonna have a. I think Leverkusen is gonna have a great matchup against Darmstadt this season. At this next coming game week, and let's just see how those scores are gonna line up. If they keep the clean sheet again, I think we could see massive scores from Leverkusen again.
Yeah, this
And they
team
don't
just
have
looks built to
Nkapie,
kill.
right? Yeah. They don't have Nkapie and they don't have Adli, right? They were suspended for the beginning of the season.
Yeah, at least apparently on his way out. Premier League
Yeah, so
clubs want to
Brighton.
buy him, and I don't think they need him. I think this is their starting 11. If everybody's fit, these should play, these 11 players. And yeah, what a team they are. Like, the problem is Alex Grimaldo was once again one of the best guys on the field. It's just not shown in metrics. Like from the player performance he had in that game, should have been 100, but it isn't. The same it's just from Sorare's point of view, it's a little bit flawed. But what can you do? Because it's also just a little bit off topic. Can you go to Chelsea Luton? Just look at the scores of Chelsea Luton. Like, the best player of Chelsea still was Enzo Fernandez, and look at his scores and the scores of everybody else. You see, like the best player of on the pitch has the lowest score on Soria. You know what I mean? And that's
Right.
somewhere flawed, and everybody else is looking really good in Chelsea Luton scores. Okay, back to Bundesliga. Bayern look really good. The offense is working with Coman and Sané. They're just so good, and Sané is absolutely frightening how fast this kid is. Like, man, he's not a kid anymore. He's so fast, unbelievable. The link up between Alfonso Davis and Harry Kane is superb. Harry Kane needs still to adapt to Bayern Munich life, because when you saw the game, he was not always in the right position. He was always calling for the ball when he actually wasn't not in a favorable position. But I think that's gonna groove in, and I think especially the wingers are gonna love Harry Kane, aka Davis, Sané, Coman. I think they're just gonna absolutely love him. Goretzka did play good again.
Hey.
Goretzka always shoots. I hate because he always shoots, and I don't know. And sometimes he just shoots where there could be a way better position for somebody else. That's the only thing I really dislike about Goretzka. I think it's going to be a test for Bayern, not because they're a big team at the moment, Borussia Mönchengladbach, but it's just a classic. And usually Bayern Munich struggle a lot against Borussia Mönchengladbach. Even if they win the triple, they might lose against Borussia Mönchengladbach in a way. But I think that's gonna be a nice game, and I think if we can get this bad spell out of the way, I think Bayern Munich is looking great. The defense, sadly, Upamecano did play really good. Sadly, which I really mislike, because he's at the moment benching De Ligt, which is rightful at the moment because he's actually playing decent at the moment. But he is gonna do an Upamecano very soon and just have a superbly error, and then De Ligt is gonna be back in the starting 11. But at the moment, I would say Upamecano is firm and should be the starter for now. Kim Min Jae didn't look too great, but again, he's a newcomer. He needs a little bit more time, and he has the work ethic and everything else. Amazing. Ulreich, nothing. He had nothing to do. Only one shot, and that was in basically. And yeah, next week probably the Israeli kid is gonna play one final game, and then apparently, I don't know if we can confirm it because they said it multiple times already. Apparently, after the international break, the big goat Manuel Neuer is back in goal.
Oh, already.
Apparently, after international break, he could be ready to do the debut. to make his premiere of the season, but they said they by no circumstances want to rush the procedure, and even if he's ready and he doesn't feel like it, he shouldn't start after the national break. But it's not far anymore that he starts. We're gonna see him start till mid-October, 100%.
I'm going to draft him in. I think I'll be doing that. That'll do me. We might have the Bundesliga cards by then, and it might be a bit of a reset. But I thought that's an opportunity we'll take.
He's great also for cap to 40 and everything, because he has 0. His cap is 0 for the first game. It's unbelievable what you can do then cap to 40. It's like basically $50 gifted from Sorare if you have a Manuel Neuer, or $200 if you're lucky enough to have a super Manuel Neuer.
For sure. I was looking at that Darmstadt game as well, and I think it is an OP fixture this week. I've got Frimpong in my, he didn't score that well last weekend. Still got 55 with no decisive, obviously. But
I like
Tapsoba, both 59 points. Frimpong I know is much cheaper. We'll see him in a second. There's even Davies at 53.
Yeah, so Davies at 53 is a good pickup, because he's linking up really, really nice with Kane. I think he already has like 3 assists in 2 games, something like that, which is pretty good for Alphonso Davies.
This guy's the truth for me. Like Ben Henrik, see, over the last 2 seasons, this guy's been such an underrated defender, and like the scores are okay, but I like him. He's seen his 46 there. I just thought I would throw him out there. I don't know who Leipzig are away to Union, but he seems pretty nailed on in that right back spot. And he's not a right back that does crossing a lot. You know what I mean? So he doesn't actually lose possession often. He's just kind of a wide midfielder almost, isn't he? He's always just kind of on the ball and that kind of thing. So he's one of these guys that if you think Leipzig are going to be on the ball a lot, he can be halfway decent. But yeah, no, I'm quite excited for the Bundesliga draft this weekend as well, because I've got some good guys with some good games. And, the Bayern team's probably one of the tricky points, because at the moment, one of the main talking points around kind of the transfer window as it's locking in is, Bayern still want a number 6 somehow. They're not happy with Leimer, Kimmich, Goretzka. They're trying to get rid of Gravenberch and bring somebody else in as well. So
apparently,
can we expect it to be the same team, do you think, Fed, or do you think we get a bit of a mix-up? Because Musiala is injured, and maybe there is still a wee bit of finessing to be done in the team.
I think Musiala is injured for the next 2 months. That's what I understood, basically. So he could come back in November, something like that. I think what I'm hearing right now, also from good sources, is that they might try to get the 6, because Tuchel really wants a 6 more than a right back, because he's pretty okayish with the performances Mazraoui is having right now. He thinks he's good enough, he's decent enough, and he also sees Leimer as a potential right back solution if really everything falls apart, and he could actually play as a right back. So there's basically 3 names at the moment for Bayern Munich in the realm of number 6. That is Paulinho from Fulham, nicht Paulinho, Paulinho from Fulham, and Ndidi from Leicester, and McTominay from Manchester United. If they get Paulinho, that would be great. I think he would be fit really good into the Bayern system. I think Tuchel could make a beast out of him, but let's see what Tuchel makes. By the way, because we're talking about central midfielders, more defending midfielders even, and we knew that Liverpool had a big problem with that, and I still don't understand till now why Liverpool didn't try to sign Ezequiel Palacios from Leverkusen, by the way.
Yeah, that's a big shout.
While you're on the forwards, Quinny, go to, I think he's worth 42, Demirovic, the striker from Wolfsburg.
Playing against Bochum.
Yeah, Bochum at home, and he's got some decent scores the first 2 games.
Against Gladbach and Bayern, no less. Decent. That's a good shout, this.
Gladbach also lost 3-0 against Leverkusen, so I don't think they're pretty in form at the moment.
Yeah. It should be a powerful Bayern win then. So do we think Bayern keep with the same team? Do you think we keep Goretzka in? Because I thought there might have been a shout that Leimer might have come in for Musiala. I know it, also wasn't going to be in the end, but I thought, that kind of possibility might not have been there. I know Gladbach is normally the bogey team, but they don't have Jan Sommer. I think I've seen today Elvedi's on his way to Everton. as well.
Mhm.
And they've obviously lost some other key players earlier in the window. So
They lost
yeah.
Stindl and everything.
Thuram.
No, I think Thuram, the only one who they got left is basically Ismail Kone. And some other players. Benzebaini
Yeah.
they lost, who's crucial for them, who was crucial for them at the end of the day. I think Bayern's going to play the same starting 11 as they did against Augsburg. It seems to work. And yeah, Sané is playing more like a 10. He's always going inside, playing more like a 10. Because this man, sorry that I call him kid always. This man can play everywhere in the offense. Is really great. How I love him. And Sané should. I think it's gonna be Coman, Sané, and Gnabry again in front. Hurricane, and if this is not working, he's gonna opt for Thomas Müller and bring him in. And I think Goretzka is gonna start again next to Kimmich, and the back should be again Davis, Kim Min-jae, Upamecano, and Mazraoui. And then in goal there should be this Israeli kid.
Peretz, I think it is.
Peretz, Daniel Peretz.
So Germany's definitely going to be a bit of fun, a bit of action this weekend. I think the other one that was quite packed up coming into this weekend in terms of when we were getting together was also France, particularly around the transfer window, and it came into my mind because when I was looking at the draft there, Kolo Muani is still registered at Frankfurt, and we all found it crazy that last time we got together, it felt like the move was imminent. They just signed Ramos and then they were going after Muani. It all felt a bit crazy. But now we're here in the last kind of hours of the window, and it's kind of not really happened yet.
He's still a Frankfurt player, isn't he? He's on strike now. Apparently, I was just reading the news. Supposedly, he's in Paris right now. But yeah, he done it the French way. He refused to go to training.
Yeah.
To be honest, if you're Frankfurt, you get him for free. Just sell him for 60 million. Who cares? You get the money.
I think they just want to plan with him and just have more. Or they just want more money from PSG because they know they're desperate to buy him in a way. And it's crazy. But Jeremy, just between us, would PSG need him?
Yes.
Like where would he play? Like how can you buy Ramos for 90 million and then Kulumwani another number 9, who are two number 9s, for another 90 million? Are you going to play with two number 9s, or what are you going to
do? That's a weird one, but I think somehow Luis Enrique is planning on injuries. You got Gonzalo Ramos, you got Ousmane Dembele. They're both injury prone, even in the midfield.
No, Gonzalo Ramos is not
a few possible injuries, and Dembele, he's done that with the French national team during the World Cup. But if he wants to play a 3-5-2 or something like that, you can put Dembele on one side because he's actually defending. He was defending well against Lens. So maybe he's just planning on that. But also, like, Luis Enrique is clearly, what do they say in Australia? He's not here to fuck spiders. He's clearly here to like get the result and to win it all. And so I think getting a guy like Kolo Muani is just making sure that you have as many weapons in the front as possible. You're not going to even give the chance to Gonzalo Ramos not to adapt. You're going to get a guy who already knows Liga. When you get Kolo Muani, you really get the full package. When he was playing with Nantes, he was like torturing defenses. So now when you play with Paris, he knows the country, he knows how the player plays. I think it's a good move. Like, it's funny because I said earlier this week on a podcast, like, this is the best Liga transfer PSG has ever done this season. And then people came at me, was like, whoa, they got Ibrahimovic and they got Messi and they got Neymar. Like, from a club point of view, this is the best transfer window I've seen them make. And maybe it's just because Luis Enrique is there, which is a coach that's better than the team. But it's also because they've just gotten players that make sense. And to be honest, remove Mbappe from this squad next year and they're still fine. That's also why it kind of makes sense to get Kolo Muani, because if you get Kolo Muani on one side, Dembele on the other, and Ramos up front, you're okay. And add Asensio and Kangin Lee and Zaire Emery, who's fucking only 17 and he's already a monster. Like I think it's good, and like to go on to the game that they played this weekend against Lens. He was first against second, and last year Lens was able to beat PSG, and that was a close one until it mattered, and PSG won at the like 2 games before the end or something like that. But PSG took no prisoners on Saturday. The goal that they conceded, it's like at the 93rd minute, and it's a shot that's deflected by Skriniar. But until then, they smashed them, and that's a bit Lens' fault because they wanted to play their football and they decided to try and keep possession and to press high in Paris side when Paris has enough speed to punish you on counter-attack. But the way PSG was playing, like it was when they needed to score, they accelerated. When they didn't need to, they just waited and just making sure they were getting the result. And when you look at the goal that Mbappe scores, the first of the two, like it's an acceleration from what's his name, Hernandez, just to 1-2, and then goes back to Mbappe and he finishes. So PSG is very, very threatening this season for both the league and for the UCL, I reckon. And, last year we didn't have a lot of thrashing from PSG. I think they're definitely coming this season. The only issue is you're not going to have any clean sheet as long as Donnarumma plays. That's all.
Well, I hope that's not for too long with tennis on the bench. But that's kind of the main thing I think with the Muani thing is it has to be forward planning for Mbappe because, he will leave kind of thing. But it feels a wee bit overkill, especially if they get it all done in this window because you probably won't get the best out of what you've got when you've got that many people around and that many people to satisfy. We've seen PSG, make that mistake already. So, yeah, I do worry for them if they do. I worry for Muani. I worry for all the players involved in losing their season in a sense if that does go through. Especially with Ramos. Imagine making that transfer and then before you know it. Because if it's between Ramos, if it's between Ramos and Muani, you're picking Muani. You get what I mean all the time. I think if you're PSG and Luis Enrique. So, yeah, it's a funny one to say the least.
I think with the Champions League and with the fact that now they're a first hat, right, in the Champions League. So they're going to have supposedly 2 easy games and one of the same level kind of thing. So they're going to play every 3 games. I think it's just going to rotate them a lot. And then from February, there won't be any more rotation because the games will matter. But I reckon that's how Luis Enrique does it. Like nobody has a status. Players who usually supposed to start are on the bench. He's put Marquinhos on the bench. He's put Mbappe on the bench. So I think he's like, I see it as trying to put as much competition as possible. And unfortunately, Asensio started bad and then he scored a goal this weekend and he played okay of Mbappe and Dembele. So that makes it even harder. But yeah, it's a team to watch for Sorare as far as the football goes. It'll be good to watch as well. But yeah, I'll be surprised if they don't go far this season everywhere.
Yeah, they should do pretty well.
Let's see that.
Oh,
good quality in the squad.
I know I'm with you, man. I'm a Marseille fan, but this season, unfortunately, they might actually, very unfortunately for me, they might actually do something.
Yeah,
then they won't do anything in Champions League. PSG's always bottling it.
Depends on the draw. If they've not got Neymar in there anymore, just causing that fuss around February and all that. You never know, man. You never know because Dembele and Mbappe, they've got the guns there. They can still outgun a team over 2 legs. I wouldn't write them off. It really depends on the draw. It's kind of what I think about that. But
I'll make the case that hurts me the most is right now PSG is a team that is full of players who need to prove themselves. Like it went from a team of old players who always it's disappointing they don't make it to the final to a team that if they make it to the quarterfinal, it's going to be great. So it's a completely different dynamic, and they still have Mbappe. Like Ugarte is a dog since he started. You got Lucas Hernandez, who's a player that you always want on your team when you have to win games. And everybody is going to go up to that level because when you have 2 players like this who brings this much, everybody else is going to fight as much as them. And if you have Mbappe and Dembele up front, you're always going to be dangerous. And now add Kolo Muani, add Marcos Asensio, add Gonzalo Ramos. Like that, to me, the fact that there's no more stars except Mbappe, this is the best version of Paris that you can have. And I say that, it hurts me to say that, but yeah.
Is he gonna sign a contract extension, Jeremy?
Mbappe?
Yeah.
I don't know, to be honest. He said he doesn't want to. Like the one thing that Mbappe wants, the one thing that he wants more than anything, is playing the Euro and the Olympic Games next summer.
Both.
No club in there. Yeah. He's playing both.
Can he
No
both?
club in their
Can he
right
play
mind. Yeah, he's allowed to.
Okay.
No club in their right mind will want to have their star player coming back to play for the club mid-September. Because if you play the Euro and then the Olympic Games, you need to take a month off. So in his plan, that's why his contract finishes in 2024. Because the next contract that he signs, he wants the club to say, no worries if you come back mid-September. That's why his contract finishes in 24. So if Real Madrid says, okay, you can come back mid-September, he goes to Real. If they hesitate, he'll just stay where he is.
I wouldn't have a problem with him coming back mid-September, to be honest. It's him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Until 3 days ago, everybody at Real was like, we don't need him. And now Vinicius is injured. And then they're like, wait, where is Mbappe?
Yeah, but how long is Vinny injured? Not as much as also after 6 weeks?
4 or 5 weeks.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. But anyway, in France as well, there was Monaco, which I think we have to keep an eye on this season for both Sorare and just for the show. Look at that, 3-3 to start the weekend. Philippe Quinny is terrible, poor guy. I don't know if you guys know much about what happened in Monaco in recent years, but it's basically Red Bull Monaco. It used to be Michel, the sporting director, who used to be Red Bull. He's gone. They replaced him by Scuro, who used to be Red Bull as well.
Yeah.
The coach is Adi Hütter, who used to be Red Bull Salzburg. Kohn, Red Bull Salzburg. Minamino, Red Bull Salzburg. So they're basically sort of like following the same path. And Adi Hütter, the way he makes them play football, it's actually pretty good to see. That 3-5-2, you just see what you've seen in all the teams that we love to watch, like whether it's Singo or Zakaria, or I can't remember the name of the last centre back that we see there. I can't even read from here. They both play. Yeah, they both play forward quite a bit, and they don't hesitate to go up. Like Zakaria almost scored one of the goals of the season just over the crossbar. But defensively, it's hard for them because they're really, really open. But once they're going to hit their groove, it's going to be mental. I mean, if you look at the stats for that game, I think it was expected goal for Monaco 4.5, expected goal for Nantes 0.3. Nantes had 3 shots on target. They scored 3 goals. Nantes should have had you should have got a red card and a penalty for Monaco. The ref didn't give it, and they score on the very next opportunity for a pen that is very, very shallowly given. So Monaco weren't lucky, but yet being down 3-1, they came back to 3-3. Minamino scored another header. So it's pretty good what's going on at Monaco, and they just signed Folarin Balogun. So they've just added the missing piece. I say it every week, but they might lose Ben Yedder to the FC jail any minute, or maybe not. So maybe they're gonna need Balogun, but regardless, is going to be there, and they don't play European competition this season, so they're going to focus solely on trying to get the win. Caio Henrique, if you have an opportunity to get somebody who's going to get you points, Caio Henrique gets most of the set pieces, gets the corner kick once in a while, just goes up and down his wing, can shoot, always crosses. He's definitely a good asset to have in your squad. And Minamino, I don't know if his form's going to stop, but he's been impressive.
Minamino's been really good on Sorare recently.
He's got like it's his
I just wanted to add something. How important Mbappe is also for Sorare community, because look at the price of Mbappe. Mbappe, I think 2 days ago, was sold for 3.5 ETH. Yeah, and Haaland is being sold for 1.7. Something like that. It's unbelievable. Like here, I think
because you know that
maybe
Man City can
it was
be good with
credit
Haaland,
card.
and Mbappe can't be good with that, or PSG can't be good with that Mbappe.
Yeah, but
there's also a good international window coming for France.
That's also very true, but I don't know. I think it's just the hype about him so much, because there is better cards than him, or nearly as good cards as him. For example, I think Griezmann, and I think Quinny is agreeing with me, Griezmann is not a much worse champion Europe forward than Mbappe in a way. And still, I think he costs like a seventh of Mbappe. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, there's age and there's, you know, that the
Yeah,
guy's
but
gonna
even
fight
Haaland,
to stay
you
there.
know what I mean? Haaland scores a goal every game, like every freaking game. Or Harry
Because I
Kane
think
now at
with
Bayern
Man City,
Munich. How much is
yeah,
Harry
with
Kane at
Haaland and
Bayern
Man
Munich?
City, you know he's going to play good defense. With Mbappe, you know he's always going to find an opening. Like, I feel like even if Haaland score every single game, it's almost like, wow, it's great. Whether with Mbappe, it's, oh yeah, of course he did.
That's true, but yeah, I don't know. I think
Talking
it's
about scores, and because we were looking at that champion Europe, yes, exactly. Marseille against Brest. This is the other side of Sorare. This was not a nice game for Marseille. Like, they win 2-0. The best player in that team this weekend is Pau Lopez, the goalkeeper. It just wasn't pretty to watch.
See the guy who picked that team? He picked the only midfielder that done something and the only forward card that done something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
His team was perfect,
he got
man.
lucky. Yeah, I got Veratu and Gigo were in my squad, but I didn't surround them with enough talent. But yeah, it's Pau Lopez. Unfortunately, it's only every other game that he's going to have a good score. But usually he should have good AAs because he touches the ball a lot. Like, he's another defender basically, and he's always got like 1 or 2 saves in him. Gigo is very cheap, and he's the starter. If anybody doubts it, he's the cheapest defender Marseille has, and he's the one out of the 3 defenders, Gigo and Mbemba and Balerdi, who's going to play all season. He's like the captain if Rongier is not there. He just has a reputation of somebody who has a mistake in him, except that he hasn't made one in 6 months.
But he
He
will
does
do
love a
one.
red card. He does love a red card. Gigo.
I mean, he's hot-blooded like anybody in Zaso, friends. But they just recruited Joaquin Correa from Inter and Lazio
Yeah.
before, who's going to play instead of Aret. So this team there is probably the starting lineup for a while now because Kondogbia is injured, and then you're just going to have, instead of Harit, Correa, and NGI and Vitinha are going to probably play 1 game each because NGI, although he's a good player, he seems a little bit nervous and young starting with Marseille. I wouldn't be surprised. I got Vitinha in my team because I think he starts this weekend.
I was going to ask that. I dug that one up for us. I thought that could be a good one if you reckon he comes in to start this weekend, because he's been hot and cold, and then maybe this weekend it goes hot again. You know, like
the coach said if he keeps being that good, he's going to start. And if a coach starts saying that and then you don't start him, it's a bit of a stab in the
Strange,
back.
yeah.
So I think he's starting this weekend.
He should start. Yeah, I agree with you, Jeremy.
is this guy
There's
playing?
not a very good game for the weekend. I was looking at it a little bit because it's a bit all over the place as usual in France, and because you don't have PSG in the draft. Sorry, yeah, Lacazette will be back from his suspension. He should play. Or did he take 2 games? Yeah, don't quote me. I think he got 2 games, so I don't think he plays this weekend. Sorry. Bourigeaud is a guy that you should always have in your team anyway. He's in mine for sure.
Brest is a good game for Rennes this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest, before they lost to Marseille this weekend, they won their first 2 games, Brest. So it's not a 1 game, but Rennes, they need to bounce back because last week they were up 2-0 against Le Havre, and Le Havre were down to 10 players, and then Le Havre equalized anyway to 2-2. So I think Rennes is going to come up a little bit angry in Brest, unfortunately for them.
Flavien Tate at 40 points, now he's injured.
Doesn't play anymore.
Yeah, that's a shame. He's a bit of a player. I'm just seeing if there's any good wee 40 pointers here. They might be lying around for us. Mbemba's still 46. That's not bad.
Yeah, I had a good look.
He goes 55.
You just don't know if he plays. Jonathan Klose is a guy that you should have between now and November, and then he's going to just run out of energy.
You think?
Between now and then, he's going to be very good.
Okay. Is he playing for France national team as well, Jonathan Klose?
No, like the whole
Not
story was
anymore.
that last year he was very good up until the World Cup, and then he didn't get called, and then apparently he went into. I mean, I don't want to make light of that. But apparently he went into a depression, and that's why he didn't play well the second part of the season. So yeah, it's a bit surprising, but yeah. Truffert is a good one to get for Rennes because he's going to start now defensively. But yeah, I didn't see anything that really like jumped at me as far as the cheaper player. Yeah, Brest Rennes, you're right. It's a good one, Hugo.
Yeah, goalkeepers aren't too pricey either. I think I've still got my Mbappe. So I guess if you still have it, you still have it. Is that what
If you
they're
still have,
doing?
you can play him. Yeah.
Aye, fair enough. I just kind of click
Yeah,
and pick.
right.
Just kind of, yeah, fair enough, man. No problem. Okay, so Italy was one that we've seen a lot of results that were quite surprising. I thought Lazio were going to absolutely spank Genoa. If we were going to get Tati Castellanos off the bench for a wee debut goal, and maybe the Sarri kind of sit this season party was going to start, but they dropped points, and across the board, looking at a lot of the results, they were a wee bit surprising. Juve drawn Bologna. We've mentioned AC and Inter. I'm sure we'll get back to that again as well. But yeah, Seria A, Fedo, was a bit madcap this week, wasn't it?
Yeah, superbly mad, but I love Serie A. Serie A is the craziest and the best. And we have, I think, 4 squads with 6 points now on top. I think it's Napoli. I think it's more than 4, but the 4 everybody talks about is, I think it's Napoli, Inter, Milan, and Hellas Verona. All of them have Hellas Verona. Actually, my dad is from Verona, which is very strange that they now are kind of okay in football. Yeah. So Hellas, by the way, was a relegation team at the beginning of the season. So and last season as well, they played the playoff and they won the playoff. So to not get relegated, and yeah, that was fun to watch how good they are right now. Milan did play really good, to be honest. Milan is looking very sharp. Tijani Reinders is a absolute monster of a player. Like, I'm very, very excited to see how he's gonna play against better opponents. I would like Roma and Milan and Inter the next 2 games for Milan, which is gonna be big test for Milan already. But we had the problem, and you remember, Quinny and Jeremy, that we talked. Okay, maybe they look good on paper, but in preseason they didn't score goals. I think the first two games of Serie A they scored 7 goals. So I think we don't have this problem anymore in a way. Giroud looks superbly fine. I think he's just brilliant for the system Milan is playing at the moment. That everybody around
Scored
him
2
is.
pens, right, this weekend?
No, one was not a pen. One was a pen. The other one not. I think.
Well, I mean,
2
the one
shots
that he
on
scored
target.
wasn't a pen anyway.
Yeah, one. But Giroud is perfect for the system because he has all the young guys, all the young boys, let's call it that, running around him, giving him the balls, and he just puts in the net because he's an elite finisher. That's what he is. Rafael Leao is absolutely amazing. Said it last week as well. I love him. I need him ASAP in my club. I really need a Rafael Leao to stack with Tijani. This Malik Tiev guy, amazing how he looks. Like Pulisic, really great impact what he had at the morning, but he always starts hot and then let's see what happens. So I won't say, how do you say, glorify him to the heaven until we really seen a stretch of like months of him playing good. But he's the man of the hour right now in Milan, and everybody loves him and everybody is celebrating him. But Milan looks really sharp. The thing is that we now can bring Suchovic, Musa, Okafor, Dier, and Florenzi from the bench is pretty elite, and we couldn't have done that last season, and which is going to be a game changer because we can just get our good players who need rest after the 60th minute out, so that we can have them. We can still play them, but we don't have to play them 90 minutes every day. Taremi is apparently on his way to Milan, which is absolutely great as well, because personally, I don't like Taremi as a person because some things he seems a little bit too cocky in a way, but this is what makes him great as well. But he's definitely an elite finisher, and he's as Giroud, perfectly made for a system like this Milan. And yeah, the most important thing is that we don't lose Krunic, because if we would lose Krunic, then another guy would need to go in his position who is much better in the offensive part, and we would lose the offensive part. So Krunic, please just stay, because I heard like Lyon wants him, but I don't think Lyon can.
Yeah.
I don't think Milan is gonna sell him to Lyon. No offense
You
to
don't have the
Lyon.
money.
Exactly, no offense to Lyon. And I think Pioli is a big fan of Krunic. He loves him, so I don't think he's gonna let him go for like that. And Krunic apparently wants to say now more than ever, because he sees this team has future. And yeah, Rafael, again, I need to buy him ASAP. Inter played really great. I hear again 2-0, like the first result. Lautaro scoring again. Lautaro is so good. So underrated. Like, of course, he's not underrated, but people are not talking enough about Lautaro Martinez, how good he is. Yeah, now they're gonna have Benjamin Pavard in there, a fellow Frenchman, Jeremy. And yeah, I think he could score really great at Inter, like, because Inter is a very good defensive team. They keep a lot of clean sheets, way more than Bayern Munich, because the Bundesliga is just too much goals. And look at Bastoni, just 93 of AA. This is unbelievable. Nothing as well. And yeah, I think he's gonna take probably Damian's role, and I could see him doing good at Inter, and I'm actually excited to see Inter. I think Inter has a good squad. They spent 100 million this transfer window. They also sold players for 100 million, so they're out of zero. But I think they had a pretty good transfer window. Still, Fratesi is still not playing, as you see, but who needs Fratesi if you have Di Marco scoring another 100? Di Marco is so good, unbelievable. Like, yeah. Thuram, yeah, he made an assist, but I'm not big fan. Said that before, but I think this Inter team could do some damage. And the good thing about Inter, or not a good thing, but there's not as much cards, which makes it more fun to have them in a way. And it looks like they're not going to be minted anytime soon, because Sorare doesn't have the license for them. So it's pretty cool squad to have and to build a stack around. And they're going to be competitive in all the competitions they're going to play, because I think on the core side of the team, they're looking good, to be honest.
Yeah,
it's not a weak
huge
team.
scores there from front to back, and that Inzaghi team has got a real identity. Like Pavard, I think, goes in there and just plugs straight into that team, you know. And really, like, he's not going to replace Skriniar, if you know what I mean. But
No.
You don't want Darmian playing in your three at the back. I think all season you want a guy like Pavard that's much more of that kind of standing. So
world champion.
I think that's a huge upgrade. Exactly.
Like, Pavard is a world champion. Skriniar is not a world champion at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And Pavard, the crazy thing about Pavard is you can play him everywhere, and he's so versatile. He's a coach's darling, because you can do whatever you want with Pavard and form into what you want to have him, and that's, I think, great. And especially if a coach like Inzaghi, who's a very good coach, can get the hands on Pavard, I think that could be really, really great. And he's very offensive, so he will have a lot of passes in the other side of the pitch, which is 3 points in Sorare. So I think he could become a really, really good Sorare card. He was the best defender scoring wise for Bayern Munich, and I think he can be like that at Inter, just a bit more consistent than at Bayern Munich.
Yeah, Serie A is definitely better for it in that respect, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. For Champion Europe, I think Serie A is the best for defenders.
I see one thing that's confused me over the end of this transfer window, right, is you guys will probably remember through pre-season, we had Jose Mourinho making all sorts of mad statements by, like subbing the whole team except for Belotti and stuff like this to like highlight the fact, like, oh, we've got no strikers.
Yeah.
They go and sign Arda Razman, and you're like, okay, that's kind of okay, fine. And now they're bringing in Lukaku as well, and they've went from like having no strikers. Tammy Abraham's still there, Dybala's still there, Belotti's, I think, still there. So, like, when fit and available, they've got way more than one forward now, Roma,
Man, Roma have a decent team now. They could do some damage, like, for real. Like, they had a really good transfer window. They got Awa, Ndika, Lukaku, Renato Sanchez. Who was the other defender? Paredes. Paredes is a decent player. I don't like him, but he's a decent player. And
Christensen and Llorente in the defense as well.
PSG's garbage bin.
Yeah, PSG. Yeah, but Renato Sanchez is a great player. He's just done. He's also made out of
Injured.
glass. Yeah, he's made out of glass. But if Renato Sanchez would be had a better body, he would not play at Roma.
Sure.
Let's say that.
Yeah, Mourinho made some sort of comment that like we've got good at looking after guys like Sanchez. So I think I don't think you can expect him to play 90% of available fixtures, but I think he could probably get into a situation where, you kind of know this is a Renato Sanchez game, he'll probably play. And if they do look after him and they do, because I think part of the problem with these players is see whenever a club takes them on as like a project or we'll give this guy a chance, they're always doing it with the hope that they'll be 100% available. And some guys just will never achieve that and they'll always disappoint you. Whereas I think if you understand, listen, we just want 20 really good games out of you, son. That's all we want. And we'll work towards that all season. Then he might be handy.
But I think they understood that because they
Yeah.
handled this the same way with Dybala. And Dybala cannot play 36 games a season. He can't.
Yeah, that's true.
He's made for 18 games a season, not more. It's just his body. But these 18 games, you have to know when to use him. And he's going to be perfect and brilliant in these 18 games. And he's going to be a real game changer. And if you understand your weapons, I think it's pretty great. Jeremy, do you know if they bought Sanchez or they loaned him with an option to buy? I don't remember.
I think it was a loan and option to buy, but like obligatory option to buy.
Obligato.
Yeah, that's good. They got Sanchez for 4 games. They got Aouar for 4 games. They're getting close to a season.
Get close to a season, yeah. True. Lukaku's also always injured, by the way.
Yeah, so they until the winter window.
Yeah. And then he'll do an interview saying he misses Chelsea and he wants to go back. He'll or something.
Apparently, Chelsea want Abraham. Yes, that's very strange. Yeah, they too wanted to have Abraham, but I think Roma want so much money for Tammy Abraham that they then said no. Especially he is injured until next season, until next year, which I don't understand why you would buy a striker right now.
Exactly, you could easily wait. I think looking ahead into the weekend, we've got Roma versus Milan. I'm not too sure who Inter have. I'm not too sure. I'm just having a wee look at the fixture.
Inter, they're playing Lazio.
Oh, is it Lazio? Nice. See the other game. I caught a sniff of from the weekend. I don't know if you want to speak on it, Fedo, at all. But Juve dropping a point with Bologna. Bologna went 1-0 up. Really held the game firm for a long time, and then also Juve with the equaliser towards the end. Is that good for Bologna or is that bad for Juve? Do you think that game?
I think it was bad for Juve. But first of all, Inter's playing Fiorentina this weekend. And on Friday night, we have AS Roma Milan, which is great for Friday night if you don't have anything else to do. Going back to Juve, I think I haven't watched the game because I had no time. And because Wojciech Szczesny was out, so I had no real interest in watching it. He destroyed my lineup with that, so I had really no interest in watching it. But what I read online and everything, and on the newspapers and in the sports journals, is that that Vlahovic seems to be really hyped about the season. Basically, he really wants to pop and to do whatever he can for Juve. And Alexandro had a terrible game, as always, apparently, which is very strange because he had 72 in Sorare, but apparently had a very bad game, and nobody wants him to play again for Juve. And everybody's questioning why Allegri is playing Alexandro instead of Gatti, for example. And so that's very strange. And then there were some decisions with the referee and the Juve mafia and everything that something should have been off a penalty, and but then another goal from Juve was disallowed, which was a clear goal apparently. So I don't know. I haven't watched it, and I'm glad I didn't watch it. Again, by the way, we have our typical problem, what we said before, with the left backs. Cambiasso, the guy who scored 90 the last season, now he scored 26. That's a perfect example for left backs. Either you go to the ceiling or you go to the floor. Like, seriously, there's nothing in between.
Yeah, there's no middle ground at all. I was looking at, I've got Torino are playing Genoa. Now I thought Genoa were going to be one of the punching bags this season, but they beat Lazio 1-0, so
Lazio's the punching ball.
At the moment, yeah. at the moment.
Well,
yes.
sorry, they played Napoli. I know Lazio had a game that was even harder this weekend. They are going
Oh
to the
God.
Stadio Diego Armando and Maradona. So I have both Kvara and Osimhen in my drafts.
Yeah, probably. As you're punching back Lazio, right? Which is strange. Lazio has a good team, to be honest, and one of the best coaches if he's in Italy. Like, strange. Way better coach than Napoli, but that's
Can't do
another
anything against Reggie
discussion.
Garcia, mate. Sorry.
Yeah.
You were on
No.
Chelsea earlier. Fedo, did you watch Chelsea this weekend? You said against
Yes, I
Luton?
did watch Chelsea. Chelsea did play okay. Like I saw them play in the first game against Liverpool. I think when they played really good. I think Chelsea does play really good. I think Sterling is playing very, very good at the moment under Pochettino. Still think Enzo Fernandez was the register of this whole game, and he was the crucial point in Chelsea, and the best player for me on the pitch. Wasn't then transformed to Sorare scores, but that's something else. He had to do this yellow card on a stupid thing because Challenger let the other Gallagher let the other guy through, and then he had just had to do it because that would have been a very stupid counter attack. Thiago Silva is amazing. If you remember that this uh, um, Thiago Silva is 38, turning 39, which is amazing how good he is at this age. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see Robert Sanchez, which I find is a good shot stopper, but apparently I haven't watched him play at Brighton. Was he at Brighton? Yes, he was at Brighton.
Yeah.
I haven't watched him play at Brighton, but apparently he's very bad with his feet. So, but I think he was a very good shot stopper. And the games I saw, he played pretty decent, to be honest. They bought the Petrovic guy from New England Revolution now. Let's see how that's going to turn out, if he's going to be the number one or Robert Sanchez is for now taking on the goalkeeper spot. I think if Nkunku comes in this team, that could be real damage because Nkunku, again, Dybala type of player. For 18 games a season, he's the best, but then he's injured. It's just Nkunku style. And yeah, Sterling played really good. I was very, very, very excited to see Sterling. And Gallagher, I said as well against Liverpool, played good. I think he played good as well. Luton, I would be shocked if Luton wins more than 2 games this season. To be honest.
Go buy your stack.
Yeah. Well, looking at the midfield, Chong, Nakamba, and Barkley definitely doesn't fill me with much confidence that 2 wins is something that they should be aiming against. Luton, unlucky to them. Chelsea definitely had some good scores and some good movement for them. And again, they're still active in the transfer market, so we'll maybe see some more kind of movement for them. But yeah, it's easy to forget that Nkunku is still to slot into this team after a good pre-season as well. So yeah, man, fair.
Liverpool good though. I had to say,
Yeah.
just one thing about Malagusto. Apparently, they did that right because he seems to be a good, decent enough Reece James replacement if he's injured. Because again, Reece James also a type of player like Nkunku and Dybala. He's not going to play the whole season, and yeah, he seems to be fit for the job. I had nothing to say against it.
Give it a week.
That's the first full proper game I saw from Malagusto. I'm sorry, I never really watched the Lyon, to be honest.
He's okay. He's okay offensively. He's not great defensively.
Like many fullbacks.
The biggest game in the league, in the Premier League, probably this weekend was Newcastle and Liverpool. I was really worried about Newcastle's Liverpool's midfield situation as they come out at the end of this transfer window. We got a debut for the destroyer at the back, Endo, and they managed to, with 10 men, still just about get the result in the end. I've seen a good portion of this match on extended highlights, and I knew that Liverpool won this because I just seen the meme of Klopp and Tyndall afterwards. So I just knew, Liverpool must have won. But see, when I was watching it, I was like, I cannot believe that Newcastle are not going to win this game. See, watching it back afterwards, honestly, what a game they had from 95% of it.
They should have won 4-1 in this 4-0 because they shouldn't have allowed this 2 goals. It's unbelievable what they left out. It's crazy. Almiron should have scored alone 3 goals. It's I don't know what happened there. And yeah, then they fell apart in the last 50 minutes. I think I don't know, maybe they were frustrated because they were just running on this one goal, obviously, because Van Dijk also had a red. But yeah, they were frustrating. Anthony Gordon is a great player, I have to say. I was really shocked how good he is. And I think he's superbly underrated, and he's very, very decent. And I really enjoyed watching him. Sven Botman, I hope he didn't injure himself too hard, because it looked not as good. Sven Botman is on the same level as Virgil van Dijk and Ruben Diaz. He is so good. It's unbelievable how good Sven Botman, even if he had the error led to goal, this kid, he still is a kid. Unbelievable how good Sven Botman is. But I don't know. I haven't checked. I think he could have hurt his knee, which is never good. And this would be a huge setback for Newcastle, because the bread and butter of Newcastle is the back fourth with Nick Pope. And if this is not there, I don't see them being that good this season as they could be, even if they have a very straight, very good midfield and a very good and attacking offense. If Sven Botman lags or misses 4 to 6 months, I don't see Newcastle doing as good as they did last year, because he's this back fourth. I'm not saying Sven Botman is crucial, but this complete complex of the back fourth is so crucial for Newcastle. It's it would ruin the season if Sven Botman is injured, to be honest.
I know, I completely agree, Fedo. I've covered a wee bit of Newcastle on my main channel. I've got a video I've recorded earlier today talking about this. But you take Botman out of that defence, the level of the entire defence, like you say, drops significantly when you take Botman out of there and do anything with it, and they threw 3 points away against Liverpool. I had points dropped for Newcastle against Man City, and I know it's like Man City, no one thinks they should be beating them, but Newcastle could have got something out of that game as well. And I think if you go into the rest of the season without someone of Botman's quality in defence, it makes a big difference. But one thing I did say in that video, you can check it out when it's live, right? But Anthony Gordon, if his name was Neymar, like just imagine he called himself Neymar tomorrow, PSG would try and sign him, wouldn't he?
100%. He's so good. He's so good. He's a lightning.
He's got swagger as well. He's got a proper personality on the pitch where he's not scared. He's like, give me the ball. He'll go in with people. He's not shy in that sense, where sometimes these guys that are really talented, they can go missing in a match, but I don't think he'll ever go missing in a match. He's too in your face, even, when the back's there against the wall. He's a really good player. I'm a big fan of him.
We haven't seen a transfer between PSG and Newcastle, right? Have we? Between Qatar and Saudi Arabia? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Either one side or the other.
And what about Man City? Did Man City get anyone from... No, I don't think Man City have done any deals with PSG either, have they? Interesting.
The rivalry in the Middle East extends to football. I feel like if they were trying to deal with each other, they'd ask for 6 times the price, because they actually know how much money they have.
There's no kidding on with them. And Jeremy, you're telling us before we come on as well, you managed to catch Tottenham Ange Ball for the first time in the Premier League. How did you find it?
Big Ange. Yeah, it was a good win for Tottenham, but he was not. I guess he wasn't as fluid as I expected from Ange. We were just talking about last week, right? When I think Pape Matar had 2 goals, 2 assists since the beginning of the season. His assist this weekend is mental. It's such a great pass, and it shows how smart he is, because he found Maddison in the exact perfect run behind the defense in the box. But besides that, I was just disappointed is a big word, but I was just a bit... Obviously, Postecoglou hasn't put his team together through... Man, if you haven't watched it, you got to watch how many misses for Richarlison. This was comical at the end. He had 3, 4, 5 opportunities where, I don't know, it looks like he's wearing some sort of wooden boots and just completely misses it when he's 2 meters away from goal. I was with friends watching it, and we were just like, what the fuck is he doing? And diving for no reason, and a real clown. He scored, I think, midweek in the cup game, which they lost actually in penalties to Fulham. But yeah, look, it was what we expect from Ange Ball. He's just not there yet, clearly. And Bissouma is probably the one who works the hardest in there. As you expect with Ange, Romero and Van de Ven are doing a lot ball to feet, but if Bissouma wasn't in front of them trying to get the ball, they'll struggle. I think again, as you expect always when it's Postecoglou, the defense is going to score well in Sorare because they just see a lot of the ball. They get up a lot. Like Romero plays as a striker every other opportunity, and they're strong on the men as well because the press is everywhere on the pitch as soon as the other team cross the half line. So it's early signs that are good, but if you look at the way the game was played, like probably at like 5-6 minutes at a time, Bournemouth had the ball and Tottenham was just waiting. So maybe it's because it's early days, maybe because they scored early and they could afford to wait and to try and sort of like trap them in counter attack, which they did on Kulusevski's goal. But yeah, it wasn't as dominant as I expect from a team at Tottenham, and you can see that there's somehow a missing piece in that middle to try and actually bring the ball forward. Maddison sometimes plays a bit too close to Richarlison, so yeah, there was some sort of a hole there that wasn't quite filled somewhere between Richarlison, Maddison, and Son, who probably at sometimes all three were too high up the pitch. So obviously it's Postecoglou. He's just working his way to it, and I could see the game against Fulham, he rotated quite a bit. Like Solomon was starting, and some Skip was starting as well. So he tried to play the rest of his team as well. So it'd be interesting to see who made a good impression. The one that impressed me, or I guess maybe I wasn't expecting. I thought they were going to recruit somebody there. Is Vicario? He's doing the job as keeper, and I don't know if the plan was ever to get somebody else when Lloris was not counted on anymore. But he's good on his line. He's good ball to feet. He's got a very precise clearance, which is very important with the way Postecoglou plays. So I think it's what we expect from Ange. It's just not there yet. So it's, to be fair, it's only good news, because if they start actually playing the way Ange ball is supposed to be, they're going to be very strong. They just need to sort out Richarlison's feet. Really, they could have scored like 5 goals in the first half.
Yeah, I think it's clear that Richarlison's not an Ange striker, you know what I mean? And it seems like he's trying to get him into bend him into shape, as it were. But yeah, you've seen all the clips coming out after this weekend of Ange shouting at him from the touchline, just fucking pass it already. And, you know, and he was going mental at him. So it'll be interesting to see what Tottenham do in the last hours of the transfer window. It sounds like they're trying to capture and abduct Ansu Fati and take him out of Barcelona. He said, I'd rather play for Atletico Madrid than Tottenham. And apparently the agents are trying to push it quite thoroughly. There's somebody else they're linked to as well, which I thought would be more of a winger playing through the middle if they played them up front. I forget who it is now. But yeah, they're still looking for that missing piece, I think, up front for a wee bit of Ange ball. But it's been a great start for them. As I'm looking into the fixtures for this weekend, I'm thinking about Luton, from your words there, Fedo, and Mikel Antonio got a good goal at the weekend for West Ham. Scored 2 in a row now. He's 48 points on the cap, and he's away to Luton, so he's caught my attention there. Looking at some of the other games,
not good. West Ham are doing good anyways. Ward Prowse is pretty good even at West Ham, like for real. And I thought he wouldn't be that good at West Ham. Everybody panic sold him because they thought he would not replicate the scores he had in the championships. But he did even play better.
He's been absolutely killing it. 2 set pieces on his debut, and West Ham are really building a really smart team around now, aren't they?
Who did they
Man
buy?
City at home at Fulham is a big fixture as well.
Yes. Yeah, definitely got Haaland as my captain.
Yes. Even though Fulham just kicked out Spurs, though, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but good game and rotation in the team.
Yeah.
Pape Sarr still 42 points.
Yeah, he was in the tier 3 price pool.
Richarlison is 38.
Pape Sarr is in the tier 3 super price pool. I really, really hope that I would have won him, but I sadly didn't want him.
Because Burnley away, that's just going to play. Burnley, if you've watched them in the first 2 games, Company is trying to be the second coming of Pep Guardiola, and Ange Ball is going to just run over him at the weekend again. Like, Burnley are not up to it. I think this is going to be a great game. This is going to be a great game for Tottenham. Like, this is going to be, what was it against Bournemouth, 2-0? This will be 2 or 3-0 again. Maybe Burnley will get a goal because they're at home, but I think Company's not going to play any differently. And the way he plays, Ange is just going to love that, you know. I think that's 42 points. That's great for him. Almiron, 41. BCM Merchant.
Then
Look
you
at this
got
Philip
Chelsea
Coutinho
playing
coming. He's got no picture.
Yeah.
He's halfway to Saudi. He's halfway out of Aston Villa.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, good timing for them, on that
Oh,
one.
man.
Sarabia's down to 40 points. So Palace away is not a good game, but was somebody telling me he got 3 assists in the cup in the midweek. And, in the Man United game, he looked good. He got a good result there against Brighton. But Sarabia at 40 points could be tidy as well. The Premier League draft is quite a lot of options in there this week.
When do you guys think we get the new cards from the Premier League?
Hard to say, mate. I think we need to wait for window needs to finish, and then they're going to say, right, give us all the pictures we've not got. And then they're going to need to wait for them to come in and go out. So I think, would you give that a week? Yeah, I think so.
You think?
So I think you give that a week to happen. So maybe like the 7th of September, 6th of September.
You think they would be already ready to launch, but they're just willingly waiting to launch them before, so that they at least have all the right players in the squad? You think so?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I don't think imagine you come on this and I was a West Ham fan and you cannot pick James Ward-Prowse. Now that's a bit of an extreme example, but if your team signs someone on the deadline and you can't get them in the common thing, that'll bum you out. And I don't think they want to bum anyone out. I think they want everything for everyone there, ready to go.
Okay, then let's just talk a little bit about the deadline. Who do you think is gonna pop up? Because I feel like this year we won't have as many deadline transfers because so many transfers already happened. Like
they've done the business.
Yes, a lot of the clubs already have done the business, and they don't really need the deadline business. But there's always something happening at deadline. So especially loans, which are great. But do you think anything will move, or who would you say? I think Man United is still in the look for another left back now. They probably going to sign a left back. I think that's going to happen this season because now with Luke Shaw, the infamous Luke Shaw out, I think they need another left back. Especially, I think they could still play Dalot, but even if they play Dalot and then he gets injured, who do you play? That's the problem. So I think that's going to happen. I think Man City's done. I don't think Man City's going to buy anybody else anymore. I think Liverpool should still buy a midfielder, in my opinion. Palacios is still on the market, to be honest. And I think Chelsea want a striker, if I don't understand that. Or a winger. I think they want another winger because they don't have enough wingers. But I don't know.
Brennan Johnson is our player from linked to Spurs. That's who. Brennan Johnson, who's very quick. Channel runner. So
I think Harry just bought one. I think in Super Rare.
Yes, he did. He loves his Forest collection. I think they're definitely last minute business for a lot of them because, like you say, I think every club has something, except for Man City. Every club has something outstanding, something quite prominent. Newcastle maybe need another mid because we spoke about it. Yeah, they definitely the defender Fedo. But see if you watch the Liverpool and the City game, see the fact. Like we said that a lot of people said that Tonali's not a 6. That midfield needed a 6 this summer. They've not bought one. They're trying to play Bruno as a 6, but they're kind of playing this everyone's a number 8 job where they're all going box to box.
Yes.
They still don't have anyone that can sit and like confront the ball or stop the turnover from happening. So I still think they need some sort of defensive midfield, and they probably need a defender if Botman is anywhere near questionable.
Yes. Probably, yes. I agree with you. I think Tyler Howard-Bellis is still on the market. Somebody should get him.
Ooh, that's a shout.
Cucurella. That's true as well.
Rennes
in France, since they sold Doku to City, apparently they're going to sell Thiat to EPL as well. At Aston Villa, West Ham, Liverpool, all of them. They say that they might try and get Joel Matip from Liverpool down to Rennes. Apparently they tried Lindelof and United said no. But they have 100 million to spend and they want a defender, a left back, and another striker. I think they might have just bought a striker from a Turkish guy who's 21. Is actually probably a good risk. But yeah, in France, Paris obviously wants to get Colomwani. Ekitike is going somewhere. I just don't know where.
I think he's gonna go on loan somewhere. I think the Bundesliga
Yeah,
wants him.
because no one can afford
think-
his wage.
I think Frankfurt wants him as well. Maybe they just include him in the deal with Kolumani, and bam.
He refused to go apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why?
He can still change, right? But apparently he didn't want to go to Frankfurt because why would you go to a place where you're actually going to start all the time and you might score goals?
Don't understand that. Hugo Etike, what a strange player, really. What a strange player.
A year of the Euro where you could actually play and the Olympics as well. Anyway, but otherwise in France, I think I just saw a defender from Monaco going to Lens. Lens, who doesn't have any Sorare card, or you could get that card. I actually just bought one. Ruben Aguilar, because he's a good defender, and Lens, and Lens being in Champions League, they'll need to do a bit of rotation. So I reckon he can have his spot there.
Ruben,
and who did I see as well?
He was.
Yeah, that's about it. Marseille has got Murillo from Anderlecht. Somebody commented on that, but he's coming to be a number 2. So it's coming to be from November onwards when Klose stops playing, then Murillo will be able to play. Maybe.
Yeah. But I need another.
Other than that, the money's been spent, like you said, right?
I don't think in the Bundesliga, I think Dortmund, I think, is done. Maybe something's out of the blue, but I don't think they have a special target or something like that. Something out of the blue, maybe. Bayern, they need a 6. They're just looking for a 6, and then I think they're done as well. And apparently, Paulinho is kind of close. Apparently, just got in text from a friend, but this can change so fast, especially with the EPL clubs. They have so much money; they don't need any money from nobody. So, Bayern needs that. I think Leverkusen is done. Leipzig should be done as well. To be honest, they bought so many players. Don't see Milan is gonna buy a striker. They want a striker. It seems to be Taremi. It seems to be kind of done. Inter now is done with Pavard. I don't think they're gonna buy anybody else. Juve still need a midfielder. They still want a midfielder. Juve really wants a midfielder. And Roma seems done as well now with Lukaku, to be honest. I don't think they have any guns to shoot anymore. Lazio, I think Lazio still wants somebody, but I can't remember who. And
you just got Guendouzi from Marseille, Lazio.
Guendouzi from Marseille, exactly. They bought him. I think Napoli still need to buy a centre back, but apparently they're not buying one. But they're playing with this kid from Brazil. Apparently he's good enough. And let's see how that works out. And Napoli didn't buy many players, to be honest. They bought Lindstrom now. No, they bought Lindstrom. They bought Lindstrom.
They brought Lindstrom because they couldn't get Vega. So it's a nice wee doppelganger. He's like a Vega light. He's probably better than Vega. He's actually won the Europa League. You know what I mean? But he's, that's what I thought when Lindstrom signed. Is like, well, that's who you probably wanted. That's probably the Vega position filled as it was. But yeah, in Rudy Garcia, we all trust, eh?
We all trust. I think Vega just didn't want to go to Napoli because he heard that Rudy Garcia is coaching them. 100%.
I'll go with Rudy.
Much better.
I would go to Napoli, but not if Rudy is there and I get 100 million over there.
It's definitely the way it's happened.
There was one more coming out of the EPL. Van de Beek apparently would go to France to play for Lorient.
I seen that. Is that real? I thought it was clickbait.
The Brighton guy, right?
Van de Beek, no, Man United. Ajax.
The Ajax guy, the old Ajax guy. Oh, crazy!
I wouldn't be surprised because it fits well with what Le Bris does. Because the coach at Lorient, he's one of those coaches that likes to play football and would have liked Ajax at the time, etc. Did you see that player that Lyon just recruited?
No.
The joy of multi-property. They just got a player. I think he was in Belgium or something. Or anyway, I can't remember. He was in Denmark. Excuse me. They just bought him with the Belgium club Molenbeek for 30 million, and then Molenbeek is loaning him to Lyon for the season because Lyon is not allowed to recruit or to spend money on wages.
Wow.
Interesting.
Didn't know that. That's a great one. Well, great for Leon. They're not good for everyone else, obviously. They don't like Leon. But fair enough.
Bad.
Fair enough.
Very cheeky. But again, Leon, but I kind of feel bad for them. Monaco had like 4 or 5 years of being a tax-free Russian haven for like signing Falcao and James and stuff. And PSG have had their fun. Leon, before all that stuff, Leon used to win the league every year and no one used to bother them, so I feel bad for them a little bit. You know what I mean? They've
Yeah,
got to
they
take some
actually-
advantages.
Is Lyon record holder in France?
No, Saint Etienne, I
Of
think.
Liga?
Which is
Oh,
surprising.
Paris now.
Is it Paris
It's
now?
Paris
Is it-
now?
Paris has got 11, Saint Etienne 10. Marseille technically got 10, but they decided to remove one. I can't remember what the story is.
God.
So now Marseille is only 9. And then Lyon is 7 or 8.
But they won them all like early millennium, didn't they?
Yeah,
won,
yeah,
like,
they
Fedo
got
or
everything.
something.
2004, 2010 or something like that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and Bayern Munich won the league 33 times. Interesting.
It's easier
Crazy,
to
man.
play when there's only 3 teams in your league.
Yeah, it's much easier. Let's check Serie A. Serie A record holder.
Juventus.
Yeah, it should be
Has
Juve,
to
but it is Juve, but I
32.
want to know for how much.
I've
Serie
heard
A
the
record-
number because I've heard Zlatan saying it's the wrong number because also they took 2 away on that season. Or what was
They
the
get
number?
2 stars, so it's 20 something now because the star is for 10.
27 maybe.
36.
36.
36. The stars is not that.
European Cup,
Probably
that'll
it's
be.
not, but yeah, I
Yeah,
guess so.
36.
More than that, no?
Most championships, Juventus, 36.
Guys, I've just realised how long we've been going for. To everyone that's joined us live, I hope you've had fun. Good luck this game week, and we'll see you next week, which will be after the deadline, and we'll be able to pick over the bones of probably who's won the window. We might even have some new cards to draft out as well. Feda, Jeremy, it's been an absolute pleasure, guys.
Let's go.
Thanks for having
Always.
Let's go. Here we go. It's the day for it.
Here we go.
us. Here we go.